Here are the headlines for Thursday, August 8, 2024. Ukraine's sneak attack against Russia's Kursk region might be its last hurrah. Russia is fending off Ukraine's surprise attack in the Kursk region, which may be Ukraine's last major effort to open a new front inside Russia's pre-2014 borders. The attack involves uniformed Ukrainian troops and appears to have been planned for some time, with the goal of forcing Russia to redeploy troops from Donbass. However, the military strategic dynamics are trending in Russia's favor, and Ukraine may struggle to hold any ground it gains. The attack has also highlighted NATO's ability to disguise its proxies, sneak attacks, and evade Russian surveillance. Despite this, the odds of Ukraine achieving a breakthrough are low, according to Major General Apty Alaudinov, and Russia is likely to regain any lost territory soon. Israeli group practices Red Heer ritual in front of AlAqsa Mosque. A group of religious Israelis have been practicing the ritual of the Red Heer, which is meant to herald the building of a new Jewish temple on the site of AlAqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The ritual involves using the ashes of a perfectly red heifer cow for purification purposes, and some believe it will bring about the arrival of the Messiah, or even the end of the world. 5 red heifers were imported from Texas to Israel in 2022 and are being kept in an archaeological park near the Palestinian city of Nablus. The eventual slaughter of the cows on the Mount of Olives is expected to enable Jewish people to be purified so they can perform rites and worship on the site of AlAqsa Mosque. A tale of 2 diagrams. A commander of the Emergency Services Unit in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, is contradicting testimony from a previous hearing about the security measures in place during a rally where President Joe Biden was present and a man opened fire. Commander Goldinger said that 2 sniper officers were stationed at predetermined posts inside a building and did not leave their positions as previously claimed by another witness, Paris. The incident involved a man named Crooks who fired shots from a nearby building, but was quickly subdued by law enforcement. A timeline of events leading up to the shooting reveals that police had been observing Crooks for nearly an hour before he opened fire, and there were delays in communicating information about the suspect to command. Brits warned merely retweeting information about riots could be a criminal offense. United Kingdom authorities have warned citizens that retweeting information about riots could lead to criminal charges, including incitement to racial hatred. Stephen Parkinson, Director of Public Prosecutions, stated that people do not need to personally post content to be deemed guilty, and merely retweeting insulting or abusive material can commit an offense. Dedicated police officers are scouring social media for such material, and individuals who publish protest or riot locations could face terrorism charges. This warning comes as some prominent figures in the United Kingdom call for banning Twitter altogether to prevent civil unrest. Cable news network effectively worthless after parent Warner Bros. Takes $9.1 billion write-in at Warner Bros. Discovery shares crashed 10% to the lowest level on record after the company reported dire financial results, missing expectations across all income statement categories. The company took a stunning $9.1 billion charge to write down the value of its traditional television networks, including CNN and TNT. This write-down confirms that legacy cable channels are no longer worth what they were when Warner Bros. Discovery was created in 2022 as part of its $42 billion acquisition of Warner Media. Ukraine forces reach 10 kilometers into Russia's Kursk region as raid enters 3rd day. Ukrainian forces have launched a cross-border assault into Russian territory in the Kursk region, marking the most serious incursion since the war began. The attack, now in its 3rd day, has seen Ukrainian troops advance up to 10 kilometers inside Russia's border, with some reports claiming further penetration. The Institute for the Study of War says Ukrainian forces have penetrated at least 2 Russian defensive lines and a stronghold, while unconfirmed reports suggest they may have captured key infrastructure such as gas logistical hubs. The assault is believed to be part of a broader strategy aimed at causing confusion among Russian military ranks and diverting resources away from front lines in eastern Ukraine, where Moscow's forces have been making gains. UK's Metropolitan Police Chief threatens keyboard warriors with terrorism charges. Sir Mark Rowley, the head of the Metropolitan Police in England, has warned that individuals who incite riots online, even if they are living abroad, could face terrorism charges. This includes people who make inflammatory comments on social media, which can be considered as stirring up racial hatred or provoking hatred and violence on the streets. The police will come after those individuals, regardless of their location, and arrest them for offenses such as incitement, stirring up racial hatred, and publishing material that could provoke hatred and violence. The rot in the commercial real estate market in one story. The commercial real estate market faces significant challenges, including falling prices, demand, and rising interest rates. The post-pandemic rise of telecommuting has crushed demand for office space, resulting in high vacancy rates. A massive amount of commercial real estate debt is set to mature over the next few years, with $1.2 trillion coming due in the United States alone. This could lead to a wave of defaults and foreclosures, causing significant stress on commercial real estate companies and potentially spilling over into the financial sector. The failure of the Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust, which had loaded up with more than $1 billion in liabilities, is a prime example of this risk. Nassau County criminalizes masks to counter far-left mask-wearing activists. Nassau County Republicans passed the Mask Transparency Act, making it a misdemeanor for individuals 16 years old or older to wear face masks in public spaces unless for health or religious reason. This move aims to curb criminals and violent protesters who exploit mask wearing to conceal their identities. Violators could be fined up to $1,000 and even serve jail time. The bill had unanimous support from all 12 Republican legislators in Nassau County, with 7 Democratic lawmakers abstaining from the vote. Alleged terror plot sparks cancellation of Taylor Swift concerts in Austria. 3 concerts by Taylor Swift in Vienna were canceled after authorities arrested 2 men who allegedly plotted a terrorist attack at the venue. The suspects, including a 19-year-old Austrian citizen, had become radicalized online and taken concrete actions to prepare for an attack. 3 more suspects are reportedly at large, and police remain on high alert. The plot fits the modus operandi of the Islamic State terror group, which targets high-profile events to generate worldwide publicity. The cancellation comes after a recent attack on a children's dance workshop centered on Swift's music in England, where 3 children were killed and 9 injured. Brussels is hell-bent on destroying European farming. The European Union is systematically destroying traditional agriculture through its policies, posing a direct threat to the livelihoods of farmers across Europe, and ultimately putting food security at risk. The introduction of cattle, pig, and sheep taxes in Denmark by 2030, justified as a measure to combat climate change, is just one example of these destructive policies. Other measures include forcing farmers not to cultivate certain areas and releasing Ukrainian agricultural products onto the European market, which undermines local farmers due to laxer standards and lower prices. These actions are driven by the globalist elite's left liberal ideology, which prioritizes combating global warming above all else, including the well-being of European citizens. Israel vows to eliminate new Hamas chief Sinwar, seen as even closer to Tehran. Israel has vowed to eliminate Yahya Sinwar, the newly appointed leader of Hamas, who was announced as the successor to Ismail Haniyeh, killed in an Israeli covert operation on July 31st. Sinwar is considered the mastermind behind the October 7th terror attack on southern Israel and is seen as closer to Tehran compared to the late Haniyeh. The Israeli foreign minister has stated that Sinwar's appointment is a compelling reason to swiftly eliminate him and wipe Hamas off the face of the earth, while the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has blamed Sinwar for the lack of progress in core-mediated ceasefire talks. Judge tosses Mexico's $10 billion lawsuit for 6 of 8 named American gunmakers. A Massachusetts district court judge has dismissed Mexico's $10 billion lawsuit against 6 American gun manufacturers that the country argued were responsible for firearms flooding south across the United States-Mexico border. The judge found that Mexico had not shown enough evidence to prove that the activities of the defendant companies in Massachusetts were connected to gun crime in Mexico, citing jurisdictional problems. Two defendants remain, Smith & Wesson Brands and wholesaler Whitmer Public Safety Group. The United States has more millionaires than the entire population of Ireland. The world has 15 million millionaires, more than the population of Rwanda, the 28th most populous country in Africa. The United States has the largest number of millionaires at nearly 5.5 million, which is more than the entire population of Ireland. The number of American millionaires has increased by 62% in 10 years and accounts for over 1/3 of all millionaires worldwide. Other countries with large millionaire populations include China with 860,000 millionaires, Germany with slightly over 800,000 millionaires, and Switzerland with 428,000 millionaires, which is equivalent to the population of Iceland. Stocks surge on small drop in initial jobless claims. Continuing claims hits 33-month high. The number of Americans filing for jobless benefits for the first time fell from 249,000 to 233,000 last week. However, continuing jobless claims rose to 1,875,000 Americans, the highest since November 2021. The unemployment rate was boosted by people on temporary layoff, which increased by 249,000 due to Hurricane Beryl and is expected to slide back next month. Despite this mixed news, stocks reacted positively. American theocracy politics has become our national religion. Politics has become the national religion of the United States, with citizens worshiping a political savior manufactured by the deep state. The country's constitutional republic has given way to a theocracy structured around the worship of this idol. Every presidential candidate is part of an elaborate scam intended to persuade voters that they live in a functioning constitutional republic. In reality, voters are the dupes and candidates are the shills, with the deep state rigging the outcome. The Constitution provides little protection against government wrongdoing without courts willing to uphold its provisions and a knowledgeable citizenry outraged by its undermining. JP Morgan, 75% of global carry trades have been unwound. A clash broke out between JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs trading desks over the global carry trade unwind, with JPM's Arindam Sandalia saying it is 50% to 60% complete, while Goldman trader Jerry Shen countered that investors are net long the yen, implying a largely unwound carry trade. Morgan Stanley starts pitching Bitcoin exchange-traded funds to clients today. Morgan Stanley is allowing 15,000 of its financial advisors to pitch shares of two exchange-traded Bitcoin funds, BlackRock's I.S. Hare's Bitcoin Trust and Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund to clients. However, the bank has set eligibility requirements, including a minimum net worth of $1.5 million, a high-risk profile, and an interest in speculative investments. Clients can only invest through taxable brokerage accounts and not retirement accounts. Morgan Stanley will monitor clients' Bitcoin holdings to prevent excessive exposure to the asset class. This move marks a significant step towards institutional adoption of Bitcoin in traditional finance. The United States hands Ukraine $3,900,000,000 in budgetary aid through World Bank. The Ukrainian government received $3.9 billion from the United States in the form of direct budgetary aid, which will be dispersed through the World Bank. This is the first tranche of direct budget support from the United States in 2024, with a total of $7.8 billion to be received this year. The funds will finance priority expenditures such as rescue workers' salaries, doctors' salaries, teachers' salaries, public pensions, and social benefits. Cocoa prices rise as United States stockpiles in exchange-monitored warehouses hit 4-year low. Cocoa futures in New York remain range-bound within a symmetrical triangle pattern after peaking near $12,000 a ton in mid-April, finding support around $7,000. The most active contract rose as much as 5.6% in New York due to concerns about dwindling stockpiles in United States warehouses. Inventories of cocoa beans held in the United States have fallen to the lowest levels since December 2019. Despite expectations of better harvests in West Africa, Pierre Endurant remains bullish on the view that the stocks-to-grinding ratio for the world at the end of 2024 will be at its lowest ever and potentially run out of inventories late in the year. Spot the odd one out recession odds edition. Markets remain in shock mode, with the rapid rise in market-implied recession odds in the United States considerably higher than in the United Kingdom or Europe. The Federal Reserve is expected to deliver interest rate reductions, which could cause SONIA and Euribor rates to drop. Last week's jobs data triggered a sudden increase in the likelihood of a United States recession, but positioning was the real driver of this shift. Elevated volatility in fractious markets may lead to a negative feedback loop between the real economy and the market, further increasing recession odds. Futures rebound from overnight lows as sentiment remains on edge. Stocks in Asia traded mixed after a weak handover from Wall Street, where major indices finished in the red amid soft earnings and geopolitical risks. The yield on the 30-year bond is at approximately 4.225%, which is 17 basis points richer than last month's, and the price of oil steadied following its biggest advance in a week as traders continued to focus on fluctuations in wider markets and tensions in the Middle East. Artificial intelligence frenzy fades. Is the hype over? The performance of various semiconductors over the past month showed mixed results in percentage terms,